Scientific article about what a racing pigeon's body goes through during a 300-mile race. The physiological demands on racing pigeons during long-distance flights. Racing pigeons are a specialized breed of domestic pigeon that have been selectively bred for stamina, navigation skills, and speed. They are used in the sport of pigeon racing, where they are timed flying home over long distances. Races can range from 100 miles to over 600 miles for a single race. In order to succeed at the highest levels, racing pigeons undergo intensive conditioning and training to prepare them for the physiological rigors of long-distance high-speed flight. Oxygen transport and utilization. A key factor in a racing pigeon's performance is its cardiovascular and respiratory systems, which deliver oxygen to power flight. Pigeons have an exceptionally efficient respiratory system and cardiovascular system compared to similar-sized birds. Their lungs are small and rigid, but are attached to 9 air sacs throughout their body, which function to keep air flowing continuously over the gas exchange surfaces of the lungs even during respiration. This enables them to extract more oxygen compared to breathing in and out of just the lungs. Pigeons have a higher mass-specific metabolic rate and oxygen consumption during flight compared to many other bird species. To support their oxygen needs, pigeons have a large heart relative to their body size and a higher blood hemoglobin concentration. Hemoglobin is the protein in red blood cells that binds to oxygen in the lungs and transports it to tissues and muscles. The high hemoglobin allows their blood to carry more oxygen. Racing pigeons can circulate oxygen very rapidly, with heart rates over 600 beats per minute being common during racing and flight. This circulates their blood volume of up to 20% of their body weight per minute, compared to human circulation of about 5% per minute. All these cardiovascular and respiratory adaptations allow racing pigeons to maximize their oxygen intake during flight. Even with these specializations, the oxygen saturation of a racing pigeon's blood can drop from 95% down to 80% during long-endurance flights as their oxygen consumption outpaces intake. The pigeon's body and muscles are adapted to function even at these lower saturations that would cause impairment in other species. However, after long flights, their oxygen saturation takes hours to return to normal resting levels. Providing racing pigeons with oxygen-enriched air after races helps speed their recovery. Fuel for flight. The large amount of oxygen racing pigeons consume during flight is used to metabolize fats and carbohydrates for energy. The main fuel source for pigeons during endurance flight is fat, which is a more efficient and higher energy molecule than carbohydrates. Racing pigeons build up fat reserves prior to races and can store surplus fat even within their abdominal cavity to help fuel long flights. Fat provides about 85 to 90% of their in-flight energy usage. The remaining 10 to 15% comes from carbohydrates. Pigeons burn fat rapidly during flight at very high rates. It is estimated racing pigeons can expend fat at up to 35 times their resting metabolic rate when flying maximally. This is the highest known rate of fat metabolism of any vertebrate animal. This rapid fat burning enables the high power output required for continuous flapping flights over hundreds of miles. However, pigeons' fat stores are limited and they cannot carry enough fat reserves to power 300-mile flights. So they also rely on rapid metabolism of carbohydrates such as glycogen to supplement fat usage. Glycogen is a multi-branched polysaccharide that is an efficient way for the pigeon to store readily accessible glucose molecules. Glycogen is stored primarily in their breast muscles and liver. Glycogen provides a rapidly tapped energy source to help sustain power and speed during racing. It burns faster and provides more instant energy than fat. Pigeons' wing muscles likely start races fueled mostly by glycogen and shift to greater fat-burning ratios as the race goes on and glycogen stores deplete. However, glycogen is quite limited compared to their fat reserves. Fully loaded with carbs, the pigeon's muscles and liver may contain only enough glycogen for about an hour of maximal flight. So after this initial period, the pigeon has to increasingly rely on fat stores for most of their energy. Completing ultra-long endurance flights requires having substantial fat reserves remaining even after hours of sustained high-speed flight. Wing muscles and exercise physiology. The metabolic engine that enables racing pigeons to fly hundreds of miles composed of just 2 sets of muscles, the pectoralis muscles which power the downstroke and the supracoracoideus muscles which power the upstroke. These muscles make up on average about 20% of the pigeon's body weight. This is the highest fraction of flight muscle mass of any flying bird. The amount of flight muscle a pigeon has is highly correlated to racing performance. Winners of long-distance races typically have the largest breast muscle mass fractions. The architecture and performance of pigeon wing muscles have been extensively studied to understand the biomechanics of sustained powered flight. The pectoralis muscles that power takeoff and provide the majority of thrust during flight are composed of mainly fast oxidative glycolytic fibers. These muscle fibers generate high power outputs and fatigue resistantly using both oxidative and glycolytic metabolism to generate ATP energy. The supracoracoideus muscles, which control the wing upstroke, have a higher fraction of slower, more oxidative fibers optimized for endurance. Coordinated contractions between the fast twitch pectoralis and slower supracoracoideus fibers enables pigeons to efficiently flap continuously for hours without fatiguing. Their wing beat frequency starts around 10 beats per second but can increase to over 13 beats per second during racing or evading predators. Throughout long flights, the pigeon's wing muscles have to function under high metabolic stress. Oxygen saturation drops over time as described previously. Lactic acid buildup increases over the course of flight as anaerobic glycolysis contributes more to power output. The oxidative muscle fibers in their wings are able to function and contract even under low oxygen, high lactate conditions that would fatigue and impair muscles in most other species. Additionally, the tendons in their wings contain a novel protein called flightin that increases the efficiency of contractions specifically when the muscles are fatigued. All these specializations enable the pigeon to maintain muscle power and wing motions even late into grueling long-distance flights. Navigation and sensory abilities. One of the most remarkable aspects of racing pigeons is their navigation ability to determine directions and fly accurately home from locations they have never flown from before. They likely use a combination of strategies including detecting magnetic fields, visual cues, olfactory signals, and low-frequency sound detection. Their brains may integrate these stimuli along with solar cues to build complex navigational maps. Pigeons are sensitive to magnetic fields and have deposits of magnetite in their beaks and necks that may allow them to determine direction by detecting the Earth's magnetic field. Their vision is also adapted for long flights. Pigeons have excellent broad visual fields compared to frontal vision dominant species like hawks. Their tubular-shaped eyes with few cones likely optimize motion detection critical for flocking during racing. Pigeons can visually process rapid flashes of light up to 109 Hz compared to 50 Hz in humans. These fast reaction times and abilities to see coherent motion and object rotations likely provide key visual information used in flight steering and homing. Pigeons have an excellent sense of smell compared to many bird species. They have over 1 million olfactory cells in their nasal cavities. Complex chemical gradients in the atmosphere likely provide navigational clues to help pigeons determine their location and direction. Lastly, pigeons can detect infrasonic sounds at frequencies below human hearing. These sub-20 Hz sound waves may assist navigation by enabling pigeons to literally hear distant landscapes. The source of these infrasonic signals could be crashing ocean waves, wind turbulence, and geological activity. By integrating all this sensory information, racing pigeons have remarkable and highly specialized abilities to determine their location and home direction over hundreds of miles of unfamiliar terrain, a capability that enabled them to become prized racing competitors. In summary, racing pigeons have evolved an array of physiological and sensory adaptations that enable them to complete ultra-long endurance flights. Optimized cardiorespiratory systems deliver oxygen throughout flight to power their wing muscles. Energy stores of fat and carbohydrates fuel muscle contractions for hours on end. Sensory systems provide detailed environmental feedback for navigation over long distances. And their wing muscles themselves have advanced biochemical properties that resist fatigue even as oxygen runs low late in grueling races. When all these systems are maximized through breeding and training, racing pigeons emerge as consummate flying endurance athletes. So the next time you see pigeons gracefully soaring overhead, appreciate that they are superbly evolved for that flight. I'm an experienced ex-pigeon racer from England, and I can offer valuable insights and guidance on all aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to racing. During my racing days, I managed a small team of no more than 70 pigeons, including stock, young birds, and old birds. It was not uncommon for me to send as few as 6 birds to a race and still secure the top 3 positions out of up to 2,500 pigeons in my club and federation. My race distances typically ranged up to 300 miles, and I consistently achieved top 5 placements in my club. My expertise extends to the art of selecting excellent breeders, including evaluating pigeons based on their eye sign characteristics. I firmly believe that true champions can only be bred from top quality stock, and I can guide you in identifying and acquiring such pigeons. I understand that many pigeons for sale are advertised based on their lineage or pedigree, but I emphasize the importance of assessing the bird itself rather than relying solely on paperwork. As part of my offer, I invite you to share photos of your pigeons, including their eye sign and wing characteristics. I'll provide you with free advice on racing and breeding based on my extensive experience and knowledge. Additionally, I will share auction links to high-quality breeding birds that have the potential to produce winners in your loft. Here's what you can expect to receive from me. A comprehensive Word document containing valuable insights and strategies for successful pigeon racing, including specific racing methods for both old and young birds, as well as general advice. Private YouTube videos sent to your email, covering various aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to race preparation. Detailed recommendations on supplements and additives to add to your pigeon's drinking water, with scientific evidence supporting their effectiveness. Similar products are used by professional athletes and racehorses to enhance performance. Assurance that your pigeons will race home faster, provided that you have quality birds to begin with. While I can provide guidance, it's essential to start with pigeons of good genetic quality. Guidance on feeding schedules and methods, tailored from Sunday to Saturday, to optimize your pigeon's performance. The understanding that there are no big secrets or magical products that guarantee success in pigeon racing. Instead, success hinges on developing a racing system that suits your loft and pigeons. I'm committed to providing full support even after you receive this information, as I want to see you succeed in pigeon racing. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need further assistance. Remember, the key to winning in pigeon racing lies in knowledge, dedication, and continuous improvement.